This one's going to be a doozy.
Tatas and tea.
I've been out as a lesbian for several years now, so imagine my surprise when I started feeling giggly ha-has for a man. I had met this guy at this bar I go to, and we started off as friends, and then it turned flirty, and then a little bit more than flirty, and I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but it felt nice. It felt good. I was shooketh because I'm like, do I have feelings for a boy? But, I was going with the flow, and sexuality is fluid, so we'll just kind of see what happens. And at first, the conversation started really good. And then I noticed it started to fall off a little bit. So he would text me and we'd be texting. And then all of a sudden, he would stop texting me. But then he would Snapchat me. And I was like,
Red flag.
red flag.
We need a red flag to hold up.
So I was like, red flag. But I was talking to my one friend about it. And she was like, well, maybe he's just busy.
No. Sketchy.
Sketchy.
Shady.
Sus.
Yeah. Shady.
So I was like, well, let me just see what happens. Maybe this one day he was just busy. But it slowly kept falling off. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to start matching this guy's energy. And so I would wait for him to text me or him to message me. I wouldn't double text. I wouldn't double snap. I just matched the energy. So then one night I was going to the bar that we met at, and I invited him to come, and he made up this excuse as to why he couldn't come. And I was like, another red flag. So I am a very blunt and honest and forward person. I'm old. I don't have time for games. So I straight up asked him, what's the deal? What are we doing here? Because we've been flirting and talking for like 2 weeks at this point. And I was like, are we ever going to meet up in real life? And he said, yeah, I just need to... we just need to make a plan. And I said, okay, make the plan. And he said, okay, I will. And I said, no, right now. Make the plan.
Good.
Right now.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
Yeah, because
you're not playing around.
I'm not playing around. I'm old. I'm tired. We made a plan and we set up a date for, a couple days later. And the communication stayed kind of the same. It started off very consistent and this was just very inconsistent, but I just kind of let it be. So we get to the date. And when we were organizing the date, he said, I don't want to go to a loud bar and try and talk over each other. I want to go somewhere where we can actually talk. And so he suggested indoor mini golf. And I have never done indoor mini golf, only outdoor. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. Because outdoor mini golf, it's so relaxing.
It's got to be loud inside.
Well, oh yeah, it was loud inside. So I get to the date and immediately I'm like, oh no, I'm not attracted to this guy. And it was so confusing because I had such a strong emotional attraction to him. But when I saw him physically, there was nothing happening for me. And it's not that he's an unattractive guy. It's just that I'm probably a lesbian.
Probably.
I'm probably a lesbian. But I was like, I'm also demisexual. So someone's personality can really make or break it for me. So I was like, let me just, we're just going to give it a chance because the connection was so good. So we go inside, we do the mini golf thing, and it's so incredibly awkward because, again, it's so loud. So we're trying to talk to each other. But I can't hear a word he's saying. I already have really bad hearing.
Me too.
So the whole day I was like, what? What are you saying? So I can't hear him. And then on top of that, we're surrounded by children. It was like the least romantic thing you could do. And with mini golf, you spend a good portion of mini golf waiting for the people in front of you to be done. And add on top of that we're both terrible at mini golf. So it was just uncomfortable. We also got the arcade pass. So we get through the arcade games. And this is truly the best part of the whole date is we left and we were talking outside. And we were talking for probably a good half hour just outside. And it was really good. And then he gets closer to me. And because I'm an awkward person, I was like, are you about to kiss me right now? And he goes, well, I was until you recoiled from me. And I didn't even realize I did it. But the reason I recoiled is because about halfway through the date, I realized that he had bad breath. And listen, we've all been there. Like, I have definitely had bad breath days. So But I was popping mints the whole date because I thought it was me at first. And then I gave him a mint thinking it would help. And it truly didn't. And so I think that's part of the reason I recoiled. Also, probably because I wasn't super
like into it.
into
It seems
it.
like you weren't.
Yeah.
But the breath thing, oh my God. I would definitely not have definitely not have kissed him.
Well,
Or
that's you. Apparently, I would because I did let him kiss me. And the kiss,
oh boy.
I was like, oh, maybe the kiss will just be so good. It'll negate the bad breath. But it was not my preferred style of kissing. It was awkward. I was like, what is this? And so we stopped kissing. And I said to him, I was like, oh, okay, that was okay. Like, that was good. That was right. And then he goes to kiss me again. And here I am thinking, okay, maybe he was just being shy and like reserved the first time, and the second kiss will be better. It was the same exact kiss. So we kiss. And because, again, I am an awkward person, I high five him.
No.
I did.
No.
And I thought it was funny because when we were like,
wait, was this was before the kiss or
this
after?
was after the kiss.
After.
I high fived him. The reason I did it is because when we had been chatting and flirting and, whatever, he was like, we're going to be those people that high five after sex, aren't we? And I said, 100%, because we're both so awkward. And so I was bringing it full circle, like making a joke of it. I don't know if he picked up on it, but, whatever. So after the date, the communication kind of stayed the same where it was inconsistent. And because I'm a detective, I had also noticed that he primarily liked to communicate on Snapchat, which, as we said before, red flag.
Definitely very strange.
Very odd. And one thing about Snapchat is you have a snap score. And so it tells you how often people are snapping you or you're snapping other people. And I had noticed, mostly because I've been wronged in the past, that his snap score was growing exponentially. Like his snap score was going up 40 points in the span of like 2 or 3 hours. And he had only snapped me 1 or 2 times.
Oh my God, no.
Mm-hmm. So that led me to believe that something suspicious was going on. And
Absolutely.
that he was talking to someone else because you don't snap someone that much if they're just a friend.
No.
And I had asked him too, when we started flirting, I said, are you seeing anyone? Because I want to make sure I'm flirting with someone who I should be flirting with and not someone I shouldn't be flirting with. And he said he had just ended something serious and he had a couple of friends that he fooled around with, but he wasn't seeing anyone. And I was like, okay, cool, solid. At this point, I'm already feeling a little fishy. The date didn't go as planned. It's just the vibes are off and I have really good gut instincts. So a couple of days later, I reached out and I was like, hey, I just want to check in. I'm kind of feeling more of a friendship vibe and less of a flirty vibe. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I get no response. And then I had started Snapchatting him because I was at a concert. I noticed he opened some of the Snapchats, but said nothing to me, didn't respond to my text.
That is so aggravating.
So annoying.
Like I feel like we're in like middle school right now.
Truly.
Like for real.
Right.
Like a middle schooler would definitely do something like that, not a grown adult.
A grown adult who's older than me. So then finally he responds to my Snapchats about the concert. And I straight up said to him, how are you going to respond to my Snapchats and not my text message? And he was like, oh, I didn't see your text message.
That's a lie.
Mm-hmm. Red flag.
Another red flag. Yeah.
Another red flag. And this is where it really, really sunk in that something weird was going on. Because instead of responding to what I had texted him about being friends, he responded in Snapchat. And he said, I'm 100% still interested in you. If you're still interested, I really like you and I would love to kiss you again and all of this stuff. And I just kind of said, okay.
And this was in the Snapchat chat.
Yes.
So like it'll go away in like, is it 24 hours? So he did it for him to be doing this. He's hiding it from somebody who would see his text on his phone
that
in person.
Was exactly my suspicion.
Absolutely.
So the next day after he had said he was interested in me, the communication just really wasn't there. We basically didn't talk all day. So I heard from him that night, but again, and then the next day he texted me, hey, I did a lot of soul searching. I really can't pursue with anything with you other than friendship. It's not to do with you. You're all green flags. This is on me. I'm just a hot mess right now. And I said, I kind of got that vibe anyway. I completely understand. And at this point, we had developed an actual strong friendship. Like I really thought he was someone I could be friends with. We have a lot in common. And to me, that was more important than any sort of romantic connection. I really wanted to maintain that friendship. And so I said, I hope we can be friends. And, you know, I hope we can maintain this friendship. And he said, absolutely. You're so cool, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, cool. Now, at the same time, we're releasing our podcast. And I had been getting a bunch of messages on Instagram about the podcast and people loving it. And this one girl that I know had messaged me about the podcast. And I was like, oh, that's weird because we're not really friends. But, you know, a bunch of people I haven't spoken to in years, they were messaging me. And so I was a little suspicious, but I didn't really think anything of it. And then she messages me again. And I said, my spidey senses are a tingling.
This
so I was
is, like, I wonder where this is going.
This is weird.
Oh, boy.
Uh-huh. And I also know this girl from the same bar I met this guy at. And so she says to me, oh, you should definitely talk about different lesbian identities on your podcast. I used to identify as a femme lesbian, but I randomly fell for this guy and we've been together for 2 years. And I was like, oh my God, that's so funny.
Sounds so familiar.
As Taylor Swift once said, I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending. And so I was like, oh, that's so weird. The same thing just happened to me. I randomly started developing feelings for a guy. And so she messages me again and she says, I think you actually may know the guy I'm seeing. We've been together for 2 years. I'm wondering, are you seeing anyone? If so, I wonder if it's someone I know. And then she sends me a picture of herself and the man I went on the date with and had been flirting with.
I cannot.
And then she unsent it. But it was too late. I already saw it. And I was like, wait, are you dating? And she says, yeah, we've been together for 2 years. And I'm like, oh, no. Because at this point, I'm at a crossroads, right? Because on the one hand, I'm like, well, nothing really happened between us. And he did end it. But at the same time, I'm like, I would want to know if I were her. Right. So what I decided to do is I reached out to him and I called him out on his BS. And basically I was like, you should have told me you were seeing someone because I asked you and you said no. And I gave him an opportunity to at least kind of apologize and he just didn't respond. And that was when I decided, you know what, that could have been your opportunity, but you messed up. So I messaged her back and I said, hey, full disclosure, I just went on a date with this guy. Here's what happened. And so she asked me a bunch of questions, like what happened on the date, how far things went. And I told her because I am a girl's girl through and through. I've been done dirty. And so in talking to her, we were able to put together the pieces, which one of the pieces was, so the day he had texted me that he just wanted to be friends, half an hour before he texted me was when she confronted him and said, what's going on between you and Amanda? And he said nothing was going on. And half an hour later, he texts me to say he can only pursue a friendship. So he got caught and he thought he could save himself, but it was too little too late.
That is wild. Like, I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and they've been together for 2 years. 2 years.
And you asked him before you even went on your date, are you with anybody? Are you seeing anybody? And he lied to you because
Straight
you would
lied.
never, number one, like, let's just say you really did have true feelings and you really wanted to pursue this and you had a great date and he would still screw around with you and the other girl and not completely give you everything he had because he's seeing this other girl for 2 years, I guess, on and off, or maybe just, I don't know.
Apparently it was on and then they had gotten into a fight and that's kind of when him and I started talking, but it gets even better.
No. How could it get even better?
It gets even better because it turns out that this girl is not the only girl he has been seeing.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. On top of that, he has a whole girlfriend that he's been with for 3 years.
3 years?
So the girl that messaged me isn't even his girlfriend. That's his mistress. And he has a whole girlfriend on top of that.
Wait, so the mistress, did she know about the girlfriend?
She's the one that told me about the girlfriend.
So she knows about the girlfriend, and she's fine with the situation and her being a mistress.
I guess so, but he keeps telling her he's going to leave the girlfriend for her.
Oh, it sounds so familiar.
And he keeps coming up with excuses as to why he can't leave the girlfriend. Like, oh, we have a lot of stuff at each other's places. Or his biggest excuse is, well, I have a child and my girlfriend have grown really close and I feel bad taking that away from my child. And it's like, you've been together for 3 years. Of course, your child has grown close to your girlfriend, but why didn't you break it off a year into the relationship when you started having an affair? Of now your child is even more into it. And a child is not an excuse to continue to cheat on someone.
It just keeps getting worse and worse.
It truly does.
It really does. And I could totally relate to the child portion. So somebody who I know, this situation sounds so similar because there's a wife, the other wife who's a cheater, and then the other person who's the mistress. And this cheater has been cheating on her wife even before they were married, and they've been together for quite some time, like 15-ish or more years. Wow. I would say. The cheater has gotten caught a couple times that I know of. I'm sure it's been more, by the wife. And she swears to the wife she's done. She's still seeing her mistress and telling her mistress, I'm going to leave my wife for you. The mistress was married to a man and has multiple kids, and so does the cheater. She has multiple kids. Left her husband to be with the cheater because the cheater keeps telling her, I'm going to leave my wife for you. And she still hasn't left and is completely screwing this lady's life up. And I could totally relate because she did the same exact thing to me 8-9 years ago, something like that. I was single, no kids, nothing at that point. So to me, it didn't really matter because I had nothing to lose.
In my situation, the mistress has met the child.
Yes.
Have they done that too?
Both of them have met a couple, like 1 or 2 of their kids. And they said when they see them, because the kids are old enough to know, like, and say like, oh, mommy, I saw so and so.
Right.
So they literally give a different name.
So cheater has her kids lying for her to her wife.
Yes, to meet up with the mistress.
That's wild.
But it's just super messy. And like, it's so sad that this happens to so many people. Like, you're a grown adult. You should be responsible and not bring your kids into situations.
Right. And the whole thing is you're supposed to be a role model for your children. And when we're kids, we look to our parents for what relationships look like. We model our relationships after our parents. You know, these kids may not be old enough to know now exactly what's going on. They might know something is wrong in your situation, something's wrong because cheater is having her kids lie to wife. But in 10 years, they're going to look back and they're going to recognize what was happening for sure.
They're going to know. And they probably know exactly what's happening now, but not, oh, my mom's cheating.
Right.
Like, they just know that it's fishy.
What's wild to me is like when you have kids, not only are you supposed to be a role model for your kids and you're kind of shaping how they have future relationships, but what if your kid were girlfriend or mistress or even me in this situation and someone was treating your child the way that you're treating all of these women? That's not a good example to be setting for your kid or your kids.
No.
And, you know, I'm not a parent. You are.
Like, being a parent now, I mean, before, like, you still know what's right and wrong. And, like, growing up as a child, you know what we've seen. But, like, now it's different. Like, I would never put my child in a situation like that. And the situation that I was talking about, this person, it affects their life so much because they're cheating at their job. They are meeting up with this person, so they're leaving their phone at work. Meanwhile, you have kids. God forbid you get a phone call, something's wrong with your kid, and you must pick your child up, and you don't have your phone because you're with your mistress. The reason she's not bringing her phone is because the wife tracks her.
Because the wife doesn't trust her.
The wife doesn't trust her. The wife tracks her car, and you could see like where you parked it, where you started your car, like, wow. And the wife has access to all of this, so that's why mistress is picking her up. That's why she's not bringing her cell phone, because she's being tracked on her phone too.
That's crazy.
So it looks like she's still working. But you have children involved. What if your kid calls you and is like, I'm sick, or like something happened? Like, you're that selfish to not even have your phone with you because you're cheating on your wife.
That's terrible.
It's horrible. And it's like a daily occurrence pretty much.
And it's not a one-off, right? It's not like you went and you had a one-night stand with someone and you learn from it, you'll never do it again, right? You're making an active decision every single day. You're choosing to hurt these people or this person that you say you love.
It's literally a disaster.
It's a mess. And
it's a mess.
You're choosing this. You're choosing to put these people through this, and for what?
Say you do leave, your cheater leaves her wife. This cheater has been cheating on her wife, not just with this mistress, I was one of them. There's other ones before and after that I know of. So there's probably way more. And she's saying the same things to everybody. This cheater, she would leave her wife and be with this mistress. Are they going to be happy?
No.
It's going to be difficult, and you don't know what real life would look like. So you're going to get so sick of this so fast, and you're going to leave her or cheat on her anyway.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I feel really bad for all of these people involved in both of these scenarios, but the mistress in my story, she thinks that they're going to have this great life together once he leaves girlfriend, which he's never going to leave girlfriend. If he was going to leave her, he would have done it a year in. Now he's 3 years invested. And the thing is, why would he leave girlfriend if he's still able to have his cake and eat it too? On top of him not leaving, even if he did, you don't think he's going to cheat on you? Like, say he leaves girlfriend for mistress, or say cheater leaves wife for mistress. You don't think those people are going to then go and cheat on that person because they're serial cheaters. And with this guy, he's cheated on girlfriends before too.
And it's going to keep happening. It's a pattern. And you were in the that person was in the pattern, the mistress. Like, you know how they maneuver and how they make this happen. You know that they could do this again.
Absolutely. And they're going
and not get caught.
In this situation, he was able to like weasel his way out of it with me, and kind of made excuses for what went on, saying that him ending things between us and saying we should just be friends had nothing to do with the fact he was caught.
Are you kidding? It happened 30 minutes before.
You don't mean to tell me it's just a coincidence that mistress texts you, hey, what's going on with you and Amanda? And then half an hour later,
right,
when the night before, 2 nights before, you were like, oh, I'm 100% into you. I can't wait to kiss you again. I don't think that's a coincidence. And he may have her fooled, but I am not fooled. The thing is, people like that are so good at manipulating.
I was just going to say that word.
It's manipulation, and it's truly all it is. And they're just so good at it.
For this one mistress to divorce her husband,
right,
and has multiple kids and had to figure all of that out. And you changed your whole entire life and your children's lives for this person who is feeding you BS.
Right. How long have they been seeing each other, mistress and cheater?
Over 2 years. They were caught 2 times by the wife. The cheater promised to the wife she would stop and not talk to her and everything. So at this point, she thinks she's not talking to her, but the wife is not dumb.
Right.
I know they message through other apps, not texting.
Snapchat.
What's her snap score? Come on, let's go check.
That's how you know. People think they're sneaky, but they're not.
It's probably Snapchat.
Probably.
I don't know.
I'm the FBI girl. You can't mess with me. I know. I've been bamboozled before.
Yeah, it's just like so. Why do you want to live your life like that?
It's not
like if you're cheating, just leave.
Right.
I know there's a lot involved with kids, but don't do that to your kids.
But here's the thing. Yes, there is a lot involved with kids, but in your situation, mistress was able to leave her husband with her kids, and she did it because she wanted to be with cheater. If they wanted to, they would. And that's the thing.
Cheater's never leaving her wife.
Cheater is never leaving her wife.
Never.
This guy in this situation, this cheater, maybe he'll leave his girlfriend, and maybe he'll leave girlfriend for mistress, but he's just going to go ahead and cheat on mistress because he has girlfriend and mistress now, and he was still cheating on both of them with me.
The cheater in my situation, when we were hooking up, her and her wife were not married. I find out through Facebook they got married and I had no idea about it. I was very upset because we were still hooking up and talking and everything was normal. And when I saw this person after the wedding happened, she literally just told me it was for the piece of paper for the kids. It meant absolutely nothing. She married her so she would stop cheating on her.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Obviously, we've hooked up after that. And I even pulled back because I'm like, you're married now. Like, I'm not into that. I'm not doing that. And she would still try all the time. And now the mistress literally divorced her husband to be with her. And she's never leaving. She's never leaving. She's been saying this.
They never do.
The same exact story.
They never leave.
She's such a manipulator.
People like that are really, really, really good at manipulating and gaslighting you. And it's almost like they pick people who they know they can manipulate. And I think this guy had the right idea, but the wrong bitch. Because when we would talk, I kind of told him I have trauma because my ex had multiple affairs while we were together. And I told him this, and he would say to me, wow, you're really traumatized, aren't you? And I would say, yes. And here's the thing. People see you traumatized, and sometimes they say, oh, this person's been manipulated in the past. They're easy to manipulate. It's probably not a conscious thought, right? But, oh, this person's been manipulated before, so easy target. But the thing is, I am so traumatized that I went the other way, and I don't put up with BS anymore, which is why I started pulling back when the communication was a little bit wonky, and I felt like I was just getting a vibe that he was seeing someone else. And I remember telling my one friend this, and I was like, I just feel like there's someone else. And she was like, Amanda, I think you're thinking too much into it because of like your past. And like, not everyone is like your ex. Just give it a chance. And then when I told her, and I even told her about the snap score and everything, and she was like, And so when I told her, you won't believe, not only is he having a full blown, does he have a girlfriend, but he has another girlfriend. She was like, you had basically no evidence, no real hard concrete evidence to go off of. And she was like, and you still knew that there was someone else. And I said, it's my gut instincts.
You knew.
And that's the thing. If there's anything I've learned from situations like this, it's number one, trust your gut. If you have a gut feeling, it's most likely correct. And don't let people gaslight you into thinking it's not, because it probably is. And number two, and this is the big one, actions speak louder than words. He's saying all the right things. He said all of the right things to me. He was all green flags with words, but words are so easy. Anyone can say anything. It is so easy to lie and say things. But what's hard is the actions, and the actions truly speak louder than words. Because yeah, this guy was saying all of the right things to me when we did speak, but then his actions were telling me otherwise, because he wasn't making plans to hang out, and the communication was off, and the fact that he was only communicating through Snapchat. And same can be said with Mistress. Like, he says all of the right things to her, and even after she found out and I told her everything, they're still together. She said to me, you know, he said all of the right things. And I said, yeah, of course.
Actions speak louder than words, and she should know, being with him for 2 years, the actions don't add up. The words, okay, good, you could be a great talker, but just like in this situation, she is telling this lady all the right things. What are her actions? She's not leaving her wife, and this lady has to drive like 45 minutes one way just to see her for 5 minutes.
That's wild.
That is wild. You're literally ruining this lady's life, because she thinks like, oh, you're going to leave and we're going to be together. But you're not going to be together. You're not going to be. And you have multiple kids you're taking care of. You have to worry about, oh, are they at school, or who's with them? Is my ex-husband with them? To go and meet this person for a couple minutes. And you're okay. The cheater's okay with that? You really love them that much? You're torturing this person. That is terrible.
And you're not just torturing Mistress, you're torturing wife, you're torturing, you know, girlfriend.
Wife knows you're cheating, I think.
Oh,
I think
they all know.
Wife still knows.
That's the other thing. Just because someone doesn't call you out on your bullshit doesn't mean that they don't know about your bullshit. It just means they're probably so exhausted. With my ex, when I knew she was cheating, every time I would call her out, she would gaslight me into thinking I was crazy. And so it got to a point where like I would catch her in lies, and I just didn't have the energy anymore to call her out, because what was the point? All she was going to do was gaslight me
and lie.
And
you know it's
right.
You know what the truth is.
And that's the other lesson we have learned. The truth always comes out. Like, this guy thought maybe if I just end things with Amanda, you know, Mistress won't say anything, won't suspect anything, no one will have to know, and then I could just keep working the people I've been working instead of adding a third person in. People no. This was low stakes for me at the end of the day. Like, I wasn't really into it, so it's fine, it's whatever. I think the thing that makes me really sad about this guy in particular is I truly thought we had at least a good friendship, but that now we can't. Like, I can't look at this guy the same way again, knowing what I could have been going through and what he's putting these other women through. And it's also like, this was the first person I really had any interest in since my ex, who had multiple affairs. And then I'm getting roped into this situation where this guy is cheating on multiple people. How am I supposed to keep putting myself, or any single people, how are you supposed to keep putting yourself out there when this is what you have to look forward in the dating world?
It's terrible.
It's awful.
It happens like to like our friends.
people don't invest in relationships anymore like they used to, because if things start going rough in your relationship, all it takes is a download of an app and a swipe to find someone new. And I actually have a friend going through something similar. I wonder, if it wasn't for the apps, if they would have maybe invested more in the relationship. But it's just so easy. Oh, I'm having problems in this relationship. Swipe away. And I thought it would be better for me to meet someone in the wild. That's why I deleted my dating apps, and I was like, oh, this is someone I know in the wild, so I already know.
And like, you kind of thought you had like that connection because the way you guys were talking, it's like, wow, I haven't had that, like, and met somebody in person, whether it's a guy or a girl. That's why you're like, I want to give it a chance no matter what, because it's like more authentic.
Yeah,
like, it's not forced like on a dating app, like you're looking to date. Like, this kind of just like happened naturally.
It happened naturally, right? Like, we were just talking as friends and then it turned flirty, which is like, I love a friends to lovers trope. Yeah, it's just, dating is just really rough in 2024. These hoes ain't loyal. And also, if any of you listening or watching are single and you want to shoot your shot, now's the chance. Apparently, I'm open to dating everyone. And also, I'm very forward. And if I'm into you, I'm going to say something. So I appreciate forwardness. If you want to take me out, well, let me know. I'm a good time. I'm also traumatized. Keep that in mind. Don't mess with me. So what have we learned from this episode?
To sum this up.
To sum it up, what have we learned?
Number 1.
Always trust your gut. Your gut always knows. Don't let people gaslight you into thinking you're crazy, because you're not.
Number 2, actions speak louder than words. Always.
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 People can say anything, but actions are harder because they require more work and more effort.
And effort, exactly. And people won't put it in when they don't care. Like,
exactly. If he wanted to, he would. Third, the truth will always find a way of coming out. It might not come out right when you think it's going to, but somewhere down the line, that truth always finds a way of getting out.
And 4, always check Snap scores.
Beware of the Snap score. Anyway, if you haven't already, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We're on X now. We also have YouTube to listen. You can listen on YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you listen and you like what you hear, don't forget to rate, subscribe.
5 stars, please.
5 stars. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Listen up, fans. We're Tatas and Tea, where we turn our traumas into comedy. But we're here for some fun, to retell our life tales, from hilarious dates to epic fails. You want some advice, just ask away, but we'll share our opinions either way. No problems too big, no questions too small. With Tatas and Tea, we'll cover it all.